So my name's Jayne Manfredi. I'm a deacon, an Anglican deacon. I wrote the book because I was hitting middle age, so turning 40 and getting interested in that life stage. I was in my first year at theology college when I turned 40. And towards the end of that first year, we had to do a pastoral theology assignment on the life cycle. So you could choose any aspect of the life cycle to reflect on. And because of the age I decided that I was going to look at menopause. And that was when I hit a major snag, because I discovered very quickly that at that time there was almost no research on menopause whatsoever. At the same time, the conversation about menopause and midlife was really taking off in wider culture, becoming a bit of a growth industry, lots of celebrity driven discourse about this life stage, lots of increased advocacy for women seeking help and support from their GPs, looking at women's healthcare and how we can better support women. That conversation was happening, but it wasn't really happening inside the church. So I thought, well, if the book doesn't exist, then somebody needs to write it, and why shouldn't that someone be me? So that's what I did. I started having conversations with other women about menopause. I asked online for people to contribute. I said, is this something that anyone is interested in? I'm interested in this. How does everybody else feel about it? I was deluged by people saying, I really want the church to be talking about this, and nobody is talking about it. And I'm going through this thing that feels massive, and there's no liturgy to honor it, and there's no prayers to honor it, there's no hymns which talk about it. And there was a sense of real disconnection and loneliness in some cases from women. So we started talking. I had a questionnaire, people were filling that in, and we were having conversations about it. So that was my goal originally, why I wanted to write the book, was so that we would get this conversation going, so that women would feel less marginalized by what was happening to them, that there would be less shame involved in how they felt, and that the church would be involved in that conversation, and the church would be a place where women could feel welcome to bring those conversations. So menopause is actually just a one-off event. It's classed as the day when you've had 12 months without any periods. That will be your happy menopause day. Every day after that is your postmenopausal. So the time running up to it, the time that we commonly know and think of as menopause, is actually perimenopause. And this is a period of time that can take up to 10 years or 2 years. So I have a friend who it was just overnight like that. So it's really, really variable. This is the period starting usually from mid 40s onwards, but can be earlier, can be later. That middle-aged time, you would be expecting, if you're a woman, you'll be expecting to be having those symptoms that we classically think of as menopause symptoms. So hot flushes, weight gain around the middle, brain fog, which I just gave you a small example of, rage, depression, mood swings. These are your classic vaginal dryness. These are your classic menopause symptoms, but they're actually perimenopause symptoms. So in the book, I tend to use them interchangeably because that makes the most sense to most people, but there is a distinction. I think that, I've referenced some of them here, vaginal dryness for one. This might be why it's a taboo in the church. I think the church isn't great at honouring and talking about bodies, especially bodies that it deems to be outside the norm. And I think still, even after millennia of the church, I think that women's bodies are still not seen as the norm. I think that the norm is still male, white, able-bodied, and anything that is digressing from that is seen as different and a bit awkward and uncomfortable, and what do we do with it? And women have periods and they bleed, and then they change, and they do all these different things that male bodies don't do. Their women's bodies are cyclical. We are used to being in a cycle every month, and this happens from age 11 or 12 or 13 all the way up to our 50s, whereas men's bodies are on more of a linear trajectory where, yes, they're aging and obviously going through puberty and then aging, but for most of that time there isn't that cyclical aspect to it, and that alone makes it different. And I think that theologically we can reflect on that in different ways. A lot of women approach this time of their life with fear. A lot of women have shared that with me. I think that the wider conversation that's happening, which is highlighting menopause, is a brilliant conversation to be having. It's brilliant. It is increasing awareness, and that is enabling women to have the courage to go to their doctors and get support if they need it, and to get peer support from one another. These are all good things, but I think one of the things that is also happening is that women are becoming very anxious about what's happening or what might happen, because there are online checklists of symptoms as long as your arm, which include everything from thinning hair, dry hair, itchy ears, stomach problems, achy legs, you name it, dry eyes, wet eyes. It's all, whatever it is, it's on the list. I think that we're all perimenopausal at this point, or that's how it seems if you would look at these lists, including men probably. So I think that this is frightening for a lot of women. I think it's quite anxiety inducing, and how I want those women to read the book, because I wrote that book so that women would feel hopefully less anxious, so that there would be an alternative, not a sugar-coated, yay, isn't menopause so fabulous and we're all just going to be waving flags and stepping into our power and being brilliant. No, because we also have to acknowledge that there are parts of it that might be absolutely rubbish, because this is life. And there is no resurrection without death first. So you have to be crucified to be resurrected. So maybe there will be some crucifying that's going on as well. It's not all going to be plain sailing. It might be, if you're lucky. It's probably going to be a mixture of both. And I think that what I hope the book achieves is that women feel less afraid, that they feel comforted, that they experience reading the book as a piece of ministry and companionship, and that it's something that they can journey with and feel less alone.